Welcome to The Tonight Show. Seeing what is going on in our country, I'm not going to have a normal show tonight. I'm going to have a different kind of show. I'm going to start this personally and then expand out because that's where we all need to start, with ourselves and looking at ourselves in the mirror. And I had to really examine myself in the mirror this week because a story came out about me on SNL doing an impression of Chris Rock in blackface. And I was horrified. Not at the fact that people were trying to cancel me or cancel the show, which is scary enough, but the thing that haunted me the most was, how do I say, I love this person? I respect this guy more than I respect most humans. I'm not a racist. I don't feel this way. And instead, what I kept getting advised was to just stay quiet and to not say anything. And that's the advice because we're all afraid. And I took it for a minute. I took the advice and I thought, oh God, I'm going to do this wrong. You're right. I'm going to say something and get myself into even more trouble. I'm going to make this worse. I don't know what to do. So I thought about it and I realized that I can't not say I'm horrified and I'm sorry and I'm embarrassed. And what that small gesture did for me was break my own silence. And what then I started to do was talk to some experts, some of which are here tonight and this week. And I realized that the silence is the biggest crime that white guys like me and the rest of us are doing. Staying silent. We need to say something. We need to keep saying something. And we need to stop saying that's not okay more than just one day on Twitter. I realized I needed to get educated about how to stop the silence and the fear of saying the wrong thing by not being silent and stepping out and stepping up. But we all need to be, talking about this. And I spoke to someone incredible and brilliant who I think can help us all out a little bit here in this incredibly sensitive and in-our-face subject that we need to deal with. We cannot try to bury this again. It's not going to get buried. It's not going away. We can't just hope that everyone loves each other. We can't say, be the change, and just sit around tweeting, be the change, be the change. What is the change? How do I change? How do I do it? What do I do? Can I wear a t-shirt? Is there a color? Is there a sign? Is there a way to do this? I don't know. So let's start talking to some people about this and try to get proactive and activated in this love, in this change cycle. So let's figure out how we're going to get along with each other. Let's figure out how we're going to stop this senseless violence that erupts and disrupts the entire country and now the world. The world is screaming and it is angry, and we all need to figure out a way to take the anger, which of course is just sadness and fear, and do something with it and try to actually dig this up. This is such a long root in the ground. It is so long and deep, but we got to get in there and we have to dig it up. I don't know how else to do it. I'm clearly not an expert. I'm clearly a late night talk show host, and I screwed it up already. So let's go. Let's reform. Let's talk. Let's do it. My first guest tonight is Derek Johnson, the president and CEO of the NAACP. We're going to open the show with him tonight and just talk. Here we go.
Derek, thank you so much for being a guest on our show tonight. I know you must be very, very busy, so I appreciate this.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I do want to respond to your opening monologue. That was powerful, but most importantly, that's about courage. In this time of many people searching for answers and just the display of anger and hopelessness and wandering, more people need to speak about where they are with a really authentic voice. And I think you did that with the opening monologue. So thank you for those words.
With all the things that are happening right now, I mean, there's so much to talk about. But I personally want to know how I can do better and take responsibility for, how I act both consciously and unconsciously. And so we've talked about this. I've talked to you. Thank you very much about my mistakes I've made in the past, and I want to move forward and going forward. I want to work on being a better ally.
We are all born flawed. but flawed is part of the journey that we are on so we can try to get to perfection. And if anyone can stand up and say, I haven't made a mistake, run, because that person is clearly a liar. We have an opportunity to move forward. We have an opportunity to open up dialogue. We have an opportunity to learn to understand one another.
How do we keep the momentum going?
You know, one of the worst things about these moments of realization is people want to have a quick fix outpour and then go back to their corners. The way we keep the momentum going is keeping the dialogue open, appreciating the uniqueness we all bring to the table and celebrating that uniqueness and not allowing demagogues to create otherness from people who may be different.
I know that I'm getting a lot of advice from you, but also I think it's important to know that white people should be talking to white people about racism as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little?
So racism is a learned behavior, and for us to unlearn the behavior, we have to be honest about it, create spaces where we can talk about it, not preach to each other, but most importantly, be the example we want to see. And so peer-to-peer conversations, using one's platform to promote a more positive outlook at life as it relates to other people's uniqueness and difference becomes important. You know, you and I, we've talked about building out a campaign looking forward. And once we launch it, I hope others will join in. The beautiful thing about where we are today, media is so democratized that any one of us can be our own news channel, our own information source. And for celebrity types with huge following on their social media platforms, it's really important that we start amplifying lines of communication that opens up the issue of being anti-racist, to talk about the uniqueness of who we are as Americans, and to really promote a more positive dialogue with one another to do better, and to not allow demagogues sitting in particular seats to drive a wedge between communities.
I've heard that term anti-racist now. It's like kind of a buzzword now on Twitter. What does it mean, anti-racist?
It means that you're actually fighting against racism, that you are consciously doing things to stop the spread of racism. We also understand that racism is structural, it's institutionalized, and that as much as you benefit from that structure and that institution, you fight to remove that structure and those institutions so others can have a level playing field. We have not had a level playing field in this country since its inception, and we need to create a way that we can all be celebrated and all the excellence that we bring to the table can be appreciated by the communities across the country. Think about where we would have been without a Motown, with all that creativity. Can you imagine what it would feel like if you never heard the voice of Aretha Franklin? Think about the fact that you have the comedic genius of Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock, one of your friends. That's what this is about. How do you move those barriers so we can have more Aretha Franklins? We can have more Eddie Murphys. We can all get down with Beyonce and Jay-Z. That's what we're talking about, because there's so much we are losing as a result of the structural barriers and institutional racism that currently exists. This
moment that's happening now, would you compare it to any other moment in our history?
You know, it's fascinating. I just spoke earlier about the last 70 days is perhaps the worst in our history, in my opinion, since the Civil War. We opened up the last 7 days with a global pandemic and an anemic response from the federal government, causing mass spread of a virus, gone unaddressed too long. Then we realized for the African Americans that we were being disproportionately impacted. We didn't have enough tests, only to fall into our normal state of aggressive policing in our communities, first in Georgia, then the learning someone was killed in her bed in Louisville, Kentucky, followed by the incident in Minneapolis, followed by the woman in Central Park only for people to stand up to have peaceful protests because the district attorney refused to bring those officers to justice, moving that along to violence in the street, all under the backdrop of economic collapse. We have had a rough 70 days, and we must stand up against what's currently taking place.
Can we can take this, hopefully this moment, and turn it into something positive.
We can. I mean, it starts today. It starts with us having this dialogue. It starts with us understanding that we need to drive people to do something. For us, you go on our website, NAACP.org, and join us as volunteers, join the organization, because we have to address the structural racism, the systemic issues that's plagued this country for far too long, and we must do it together. It's not just the burden of African Americans, it's a burden of all Americans, and whites join in. This is an opportunity for us to do better so we can be better.
So we should have everyone watching, I would love them to go to NAACP.org and do what you can, register in there and donate and help.
Navigate the website. We're going to talk about, if you want to just donate and stop, great. If you want to join, we want you to join. And NAACP, we are all races. Our founding was both black, white, male, female. We don't discriminate. We have LGBT. We don't discriminate because we believe everyone should be afforded equal protection under law. So therefore, we operate that way. If you want to get engaged and be a volunteer, it's all there. NAACP.org. We need your support so we can make democracy work for everyone.
I want to work with you, Derek, and the NAACP. So if you don't mind, I'd like to check in with you every couple months just to see how I'm doing and what else I could be doing to help. Is that okay? I'm
looking forward to it. And Jimmy, a historical note. The civil rights movement was anchored by some entertainers. And it was Harry Belafonte, and it was Cynthia Portier, and it was Dick Gregory. And they reached across the aisle and they went and got Bob Dylan, and they went and got Marlon Brando, and many others to make sure that it was the type of support necessary to move an agenda that everyone could benefit from. To be anti-racist, it means joining in on this army to fight against racism. So join the NAACP so we can fight against racism together.
Derek, thank you so much again. I appreciate this.
Good. Thank you for the opportunity.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on and on and on.